I feel like we could start this video with a collective inhale and exhale. Been doing that a lot lately. Hi, my name's Mare and welcome to the marathon. I appreciate that you've been patient and I haven't filmed much. I was gonna say recently, but for a while now. I thought that it was, you know, well, initially it was because I was in school, and then this summer it's been hard for sure. I also thought I would bring back my podcast this summer, but collectively we all know what's been going on in the world, and part of me has felt like I don't really have much to add to what's happening, and the other part of me has just been prioritizing my own mental health and the mental health of my son. And so I just wanted to say thanks. I would like to get back into a more, well, not scheduled upload routine, but just like film more. Is this really wobbly every time I move my hands? Maybe. Oh, you're tippy. Anyway, that being said, that kind of goes in with the theme of today's video, and I basically just wanted to check in on how you're doing. We all thought we would be in a different place by now. I'm filming this on August the 19th, and yet here we are. So I'm with you. However you're feeling, I'm totally with you. But instead of just like complaining, I thought I would film something today that might be helpful for you and has been helpful for me. First of all, how much do we love these rainbow nails? Honestly, like having really fluorescent summery nails has been helpful, but that's not what today's video is about. I wanted to tell you how I have been protecting my mental health and my energy and really working on how I'm using my telephone. If you're like the generation below me, do you even know that? my smartphone? Oh my God, grandma. My phone. It can be a real asset, and probably the majority of you are watching this on your phone right now. It can be a community like the marathon. It can be a source of inspiration, of knowledge, of all things positive, but it can also really bring us down. And in this last like year and a half, that has been seemingly unavoidable with world events. And the former journalist in me wants you to be informed and wants you to care about what's going on in the world, in your community, your province or state, your country, the world. So I'm not saying like shut yourself off from that, but there needs to be a balance. So I thought I would share with you things that work for me, how I scroll less, and also how I manage like my news intake and that sort of thing. So let's start with the news. I really implore you to find sources that are legitimate, and a good way to tell that a news story has been like researched and isn't just hearsay from the internet is if, you know, someone's been interviewed. And when I was going to journalism school, we were always told to have at least 2 sources, if not more. That's really helpful. Pay attention to what websites you're clicking on. Like in Canada, you know, we have major news outlets like Global, CTV, CBC, that sort of thing, like TV outlets, or the Globe and Mail, or that sort of thing. So just like really make sure that it's coming from a reputable source. And I would also really encourage you not to just read headlines, which I know is difficult because it's been a very stressful time and even my attention span is very limited, but try to stay informed and not just a headline and then come to your own conclusions and move on. Also, like, really make sure that it's experts that are being interviewed. Make sure those experts are legitimate. Anyone could call themselves an expert, especially in this day and age. And then, you know, I would encourage you, like, say, pick one news or two news sites. Like, say, if you want to choose one that's more left-wing, more right-wing, whatever, we're not getting political. Check those, and then that's it. And maybe check them once a day. Remember how, again, boys and girls, non-binary viewers, if you're much younger than me, remember back in the day when we would watch the news once? My love, Tony Parsons. We'd just watch him and then carry on with our day. You don't need to be constantly taking in what's happening in the news and in the world. That's unnecessary. It's unhealthy. It's not good for your brain. It's not good for your mental health. So maybe, like, check it once a day, and don't check it in the first, like, 3 hours that you wake up or the 3 hours before you go to bed. Maybe, like, in that sort of sandwich time, that's when it's a good time to check it. So that I would recommend. And then, you know, on your social media feeds, your Instagram, your Twitter, your TikTok, your Snapchat, your Facebook, really make sure that you are curating, like, treat it like your home. Like, who do you want to invite to your space? Mel Robbins says, you know, if you take your phone to bed, then you're basically inviting however many hundreds of thousands or thousands of Facebook friends you have into your bed with you. And that, like, really resonated with me. So pay attention to who you're friends with, who you're following, who you're getting notifications from, and feel free to do a purge. I just did that and it was so great. I follow not a lot of accounts, and that's on purpose. If they're not making you feel good, if they're posting too much or they're aggressive or whatever, good for you, not for me, as Amy Poehler says. And it could even just be that, like, that person is doing something in their life that reminds you that you're not, and that doesn't feel good. Like, that's okay too. So, like, really curate that, and then make sure that, you know, whatever accounts you're following are making you feel good or uplifting you. My sort of rule of thumb is, like, if I'm not giving every single thing a double tap, I pause and, like, pay attention and reflect, like, do I need to follow this account or do I not? And then when it comes to scrolling, this bad boy, I have a few things that really work for me, because one of my big goals this year was to curb my scrolling as, like, a way to numb and a way to check out. So again, like, I love social media. We're on a platform of social media right now, but it's up to you to choose how you use it. So, like, I'm all for seeing what my friends are up to, or my favorite, like, inspirational accounts, or the news, or local businesses that I support. Like, I'm all for that. I love supporting local businesses on Facebook. That's my business. That's my job, is helping local businesses with their social media. So I love that, and I do a ton of my shopping because of what I've seen local businesses post, but to a point. So there's a few things that you can do. One, you can set your phone to, like, do not disturb and like, night mode. So I have mine set for a certain time at night where suddenly all my apps are, like, locked, and I have to physically go into them and say, like, yes, I would like to open this, as opposed to just clicking on it and it opening. And it's the same thing in the morning, so that if I'm up too early, I have to actually stop and think of, like, wait, do I want to go on this? Do I actually want to open this? So that's helpful. And then also when it comes to your apps, I have virtually no notifications on my phone. The only things I have open, only notifications I get are emails, because I own my own business, text and calls, and that's it. So I would really encourage you to like take all of your notifications for all of your social media off, or all of your notifications for any of your apps, especially the ones that like don't make you feel good. There's good ones out there, like notifications to remind you to drink more water if that's your goal, or, you know, my watch reminds me to stand up if I haven't stood in an hour. Those things are helpful, but just make sure that they're serving you. Like, that's a good line, like, is this serving me? And then on your actual phone, a good thing to do is like move your apps around, because honestly, like, I can open my Instagram without even looking. And like, there we go, it's open. So that's really weird. Like, you know how sometimes you open your phone and you'll be like, I've been on Instagram for 15 minutes and I don't even remember why, or I meant to open my email. You just get that muscle memory, and it's good to move them around now and then, or like take them off your home screen so you have to like physically look through to find it. That's super helpful. Another thing that's really helped me from scrolling is reading on my phone, which I never thought that I would do. I also just have been reading more, which has been one of my goals. I thought I would just show you. This is what I'm reading right now, The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. So far, we're that far in and I'm loving it. But I don't always have that physical book with me, but for sure I always have my phone like at hand. So I finally put my Kindle app on my phone, and it's been a super game changer. So even though I'm technically still on my phone, I'm reading, and that feels so much better. So if I have a few minutes when I'm like quote unquote bored and I go to scroll, I just open my book and then I read. And I don't know about you, but reading, I always feel like I have a much calmer spirit or day if I haven't been just like basically doom scrolling. So that's been helpful. Also, I talk about the Libby app a lot. That's how you can borrow audiobooks and digital books from your library. And I've had marathoners tell me it's both Canada and in the States. And I'm sure there's other versions of that in your country. Maybe even Libby is in the UK. You can let other marathoners know down below. But that's really helpful. So I've even read books on Libby instead of just listening to them, because listening to audiobooks helps, but I can still find myself scrolling. So that's been super helpful. I know there are ways that you can put a timer on your app. So after so many minutes, you'll get a notification saying like, hey, you've been on Facebook for 20 minutes or whatever. Do you want to continue? And maybe that's enough for you to like click out. I haven't had to try those ones yet. Another thing that I do sometimes, like I just leave my phone plugged in another room. I have it Bluetooth to my watch. So if I get a call or I get a text, I will get like a little vibration on my wrist, which I didn't think I'd like, but I do, because I don't have to have my phone at hand. Another thing that I do is I watch stuff on my phone. So you know how often at night it's like, you know, you'll put on Netflix or Crave or Prime or Hulu or whatever, and then you'll just be scrolling your phone. Well, if I'm watching something alone, I'll often put it on my phone and watch it so that I can't scroll at the same time. So it's interesting to me how often I go to scroll and I'm like, oh, I can't because I'm watching this. And so that's like another thing that I have found helpful. Like I said, social media and your phone can be something that's super positive. I have really started following different accounts on Facebook. A lot of ones that are positive for me and for how I'm feeling and my needs are. But I would really encourage you to do the same thing, because it can be a wonderful thing, but it's up to you on how you use it. And also just know, like I said at the beginning, like it's really hard right now for so many people. And I wanted to say that publicly because a few of my girlfriends have shared with me recently that they're struggling, and it felt so good to know that I wasn't the only one. So you're not the only one. Like if your attention span is low, like mine is, especially if you live in BC and you have experienced this summer that we've had with virtually no fresh air and just the most repressing, like thickening, choking wildfire smoke. I feel you, or wherever you are, whatever. Yeah. So those are the things that really have helped me not scroll. And I would love to know what's helped you. Also, something else that I'll just end with is on the days where I do scroll for hours and I'm on my phone, I don't beat myself up about it, because at the end of the day, we're still living in a pandemic. It's still here. So we're all just doing our best. We're all just doing our best. And sometimes that's all we can do. So I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for watching. I'd love to know what's helping you with your scrolling and your phone habits lately. Please leave your comments down below. You can find me at Redhead Mare on Instagram and Facebook. You can join the Marathoner Facebook group, which is a very supportive, loving place to be on Facebook. Life's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Another inhale, another exhale. Life's not a sprint, it is a marathon, and we are getting through this marathon together. You're not alone, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.